Okay, folks, this is Mr. Warmick again, and I'm back to give you another one of my famous diatribes. Okay, check me out on Low Rent on YouTube. Check me out on Dirty Business. Check me out on Red Herring. The Ignorant American, I'm trying to get back to that, but as you can see, I'm having a rough time doing two channels, let alone three and four. So get at me. Get at me at Out of Focus on Twitter and Low Rent Entertainment on Google Plus. Today we're going to talk about the affirmative action, the decision made by the Supreme Court, or the affirmative action, the ruling. I think the ruling that backs Michigan. You know, what it was is Michigan, the university school system, I guess, had a ban on affirmative action for students. And it was upheld by the Supreme Court 6-2. You know, it endorsed. Basically, it's going to endorse like others, like Texas, and there's a few other states like Utah that are going to go through this. So what this does is sets a precedent for them that they can go ahead and, you know, how the states can ban this. Which, you know, you wouldn't think you would need this. So I guess, you know, I mean, I guess they were fighting like for this, like the people, like they were saying, they're trying to protect racial and ethnic minorities. But it's also a slap in the face saying that racial and ethnic minorities need this. When you look at it, it's the educational system. I mean, yes, in a perfect world, everybody should be judged as the merits of their what they do, but we know that is not the case. So, you know, in a way, you do need it, but at the same time, is, you know, how far can we go? I mean, it's, you know, it's banning the use. What it does is it's banning the use of race in admissions to consider race-neutral alternatives to ensure diversity. Now, if you want diversity, I mean, that's one thing, but like, just it's like this: if you're just going to admit a black person just to admit a black person, and what if that black person drops out? I'm not saying it does. I'm just giving you a scenario. But what if the black person drops out? Then you just proved the point to the people that were making against it. But I mean, I know that is not the case all the time. But the justice is basically it was 6-2, and it was basically a lot of conflicting views. But in the majority of the justice, you know, there was varying degrees of, like, with the six that agreed, there was varying degrees of, you know, swaying towards one way or the other. But they said that the policies that affect the minorities do not involve intentional discrimination and should be decided at the, like, what it was voted for by the voters. So they're saying the voters' vote should be upheld, which is strongly contradicting the thing about gay marriage in California with Proposition 8. But nevertheless, back to the subject at hand. But Justice Sotomayor, she said, you know, the Constitution requires several, you know, special vigilance in the light of history of slavery, Jim Crow, and discriminations to violating state voting laws. Which, again, if that's what she feels and that's what she said, they just took away your voting laws too recently. You know, it's just, I don't think that the justices didn't want to debate this too long, because it's not about racial preferences should be resolved. You know, to me, it's like, who's going to resolve them? Should the Supreme Court have a say-so in this? I mean, I know it's not getting to the point where it's slavery, but you never know. But there's slowly, and here's what gets me is there's other people and myself who have talked about this, but people don't want to. Now people are talking about it because what it happened. It's after the fact, folks. What happened is people should be more vigilant themselves. If you know these initiatives are going to the voter box, the time to complain is not when it's in the Supreme Court. Do you realize that's more likely too late? Because the time to start doing something is a grassroots movement. The time to do something is get on the internet and start talking about it. The grassroots movement, you start in your neighborhood, you start in your block, you start in your street, you start in your house. Now, you won't wait till the Supreme Court that gets it. By then, it's more likely it's going to pass. So, me personally, I mean, in a perfect world, you wouldn't need this, but you do need this sometimes. It's like the workplace. I can see that if you don't, but I've always been a person who worried about my job and has done my job. So I feel hopefully I got my job and do the merits of my work. But at the same time, I know everything ain't the Disney Channel either. You know what I mean? So it's another deterioration of your rights, and the bad part about it, you don't say nothing until after the fact. So what are we supposed to do? If you ain't gonna speak up for yourselves, I mean, everybody can't fight your own battles. Sooner or later, you gotta stand on your own too. So I'm out of here. Peace.